a lot of these paintings I was thinking about photography and painting, about how they're different. And photography is a kind of, Goliath competitor that you can't compete against. It's so huge and so perfect in its way, so undaunted by every little wrinkle and intricacy, whereas as a painter, your sense of courage is constantly shifting. You're thinking one minute, oh, I can do that, and the next minute you're thinking, it turns out I can't. I do these things from all kinds of multiple sources, but one of them is actually having people in a very traditional old way sit in front of me. And so I really it's clunky and I'm almost embarrassed to admit it, but I had this woman sitting there in the studio with a wine glass, holding it up in front of me, and I was intermittently holding a wine glass myself, really enacting, kind of performing the painting, which I think people seldom do anymore. But as I was doing it, these yellow places where your finger presses onto the glass were sitting there in front of my face, and I thought that's the kind of thing that's too specific to bother painting. But absent-mindedly I put it in, and then it just seemed to, you can see that the brushwork is super fast and not premeditated. It sort of did its thing. It has this little moment of pressing, like the finger pressing against something invisible. That seemed to me a great little contact point in the painting. The paintings are all full of these front-back, planar things, where like one thing's in your face blocking and the other thing's behind being hidden or keeping a little bit secret. That's a kind of, I don't know what to call it, strategy or obsession that's been going on for a while in the work. I feel like a lot of early paintings and illustration and a lot of there's a kind of theater, like a proscenium frame. You see in a lot of early images where there's like a person here, and they do something or they whatever like that. And I was trying to do the opposite, kind of the way you're not supposed to perform when you're acting, that you're in front of the other person. One of the things I try to do is think about little moments that haven't maybe been pictured before. Looking, like I love coming up with an image and then Googling, and sometimes you think you've got something that is unusual and you Google the relevant words, and it turns out that a zillion people have thought of something like what you've come up with, but sometimes there's nothing, and there's an image that I don't know if this is that or not, but I certainly am always looking for things that way. And I was thinking about this little everyday moment of opening a door and your fingers and this connection and the way that the reflection comes to meet your hand as your key plunges into the lock, their key, the antimatter key plunges in to meet yours, and there's a kind of little sexual suggestion and there's a moment of kind of drama too, of the click and release, and then it's a little micro event. And that seemed to me beautiful, and I tried in the painting to have the difference between those two realms get captured in the way that they're painted. And at the same time, there's a kind of a little secondary image of a face that the painting becomes. There's a little kind of eyes and mouth and a little, that seemed to give it a little, I don't know, a little spookiness, a little extra comedy that seemed right for what's going on, for the little plunge and click at the heart of